So see, class diagram is mostly for tech developers. Okay, as a BA, you won't be creating it. Okay, but you will definitely be evaluating and making sure that what they have done does make sense for you. So you should be able to read and understand what it means. Okay, or at least you should know what class diagram is, right? You cannot say that I have not heard, I don't know, right? So this is class diagram, and this is done mostly for object-oriented programming, like object-oriented design and programming. Here, so mainly we have two approaches for software development. One is called procedure-based, okay, where it is more like step one, step two, so on. And second one is object-oriented, okay. So where we have object, okay, at core, and then we have the features of the object. Okay, so is it right that is beyond our scope for discussion? What it means here is, okay, so generally this diagram will have three portions. Okay, rectangle and three portion here. The first portion talks about the name. Okay, so name of the class. Okay, so this is interface controller name. And the second part talks about the variable. Okay, if it has any variable. And third portion talks about functions. Okay, see, the purpose of creating any diagram is that okay, so these diagrams are created by designers, right? The architects or design analysts or design experts, software design experts. Okay, and these are people who have got good experience, understands how programming works. Okay, this is like creating map on paper, right? And then your the software developers can take this and start coding. That's the objective of these diagrams. So here too, right, software developer can see and start coding. So then the name of the class would be this one, and it will have variables and it will have functions. Functions are nothing but the capabilities or the features that that particular class can do, right? So I mean, just to understand in a crude way, let's say when you talk about a dog, right? So see, when I say a dog, okay, you understand what I'm talking about, right? Because you know what it means. But this is like, I'm not talking about specific dog, right? The dog can be a representation of things which is like dog, right? So class is like that. Class is, like dog or human being. Okay. So these are your like class. And the moment I say dog, there are few things which you understand, right? So dog can bark. You won't be surprised, right? When I say dog, dog can bark, jump, run, right? These are the properties of the dogs, right? So similarly, if we talk about class, those are the properties, the functions, the third block, bottom block. Then there are some variables that, which talks about the class, like for example, number of legs equal to 4, right? Tail equal to 1, eyes equal to 2. So these are variables which talks about the class dog. So you have class called dog that will go on the top, and then you have the variables which describe. Okay, now that's like number of legs, in either case, right? I mean, any dog case, it will be 4, whether whatever breed it is, right? And then what it can do. Okay, when you simply read about dog in paper or in book, right? It is something which cannot be used, right? I mean, if you want a pet as a dog, or if you want to see a dog, you need to get a live dog, right? Something which you can touch, feel. So when you're using a class, you have to create an object. That's why we call it as object-oriented programming language. Okay, the object is in the forefront. You are looking at the object. So object Okay, so when you talk about objects, okay, they are nothing but the what you call as instant of a class or something that you can use. Okay, the moment I say I have a dog, you will not ask me um, how many legs it has, right? Or can it jump or not? Because it, as you will assume that it can jump, it has 4 legs. What will ask me is what is the color of the dog, right? What is the breed of the dog? Now, color, breed. So when I talk about these functions or properties, right? They are some of them are at class level and some of them are at object level. Like color, breed, that is an object level. So if I say that I have a dog, you'll ask me what is the breed of it, what's the color of the dog. But you'll not ask me how many legs it has, because it's assumed that it has 4 legs the moment I say dog, right? So that's the purpose of creating a class in software. When you create a class, it will have these functions. At the moment you want to use it, all these things are automatically called. Okay. See, again, coming back to the dog example, the reason why we read about dogs, cat, apple is that we know what are these. And when somebody says I'm eating apple, you will not be surprised. What is apple, right? And if I say I have a dog, you will know what dog is, right? Because we know what it is all about. Same thing. And we can have millions of dogs, right? So same thing when in software programming, you define a class, okay, and you put all the properties, you define it once, and you can use it multiple times. Whenever, wherever you want to use, you can use it. So it makes programming much easier. Okay, you have to put all the hard work once. It's like studies. You have to put all the hard work once you understand what it is, then you can use it whenever, wherever you want to. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So so they define this class, and class is created once. Okay, class is created once, and once class is created, okay, then we can create whenever we want to use. We create object and we use it. So object, of course, that is a core programming stuff. By any chance, do you know who Suhasini is?
No, sir.
No, right?
No, sir.
Okay. So okay, so once we create these classes, okay, then whenever we want to create, we can create an object and use it. So object is not something that we should be worried about, but what should be worried about is the class. Have they used proper functionalities? Okay, because as I said, right, you will be in terms of importance, this is very low important. Okay, but you should know what class is and how it is used. Okay, how to read. Okay, so this is class diagram. Then this is called as package diagram. Okay, so when you the classes together, when you club them together in a folder, we call it as package. So package will have multiple classes. So example of class diagram itself, but when you put them together, it becomes package. So package will have multiple classes. Okay. Okay. So this is another example of drawing with the software. A sequence diagram is something which is important from BA perspective. Okay. It talks about the sequence in which work will happen. So when you have multiple use cases, right, and then some use cases cannot happen before some other use case. See, when you draw a use case diagram, it only tells you the use case and the actors who are going to use the use case, right? But if there are use cases which needs to be executed in a particular sequence, that you won't know from the use case diagram. So we use sequence diagram for that. So for example, here if you see, we have 5 different functionalities. Okay, like network listener, request processor, file loader, CGI, network writer. Now, network listener will always send a request to a request processor. Okay, so request comes from network listener to request processor. Now it is job of the request processor to find what kind of request it is and call that specific function, right? So here, if it is about load file, if the request is about load file, it calls file loader. Okay, if there is an error, file is not able to load for some reason, it will send an error to network writer saying that there is a error here. Okay, so this is some example. Okay, but here what you see is it tells you the sequence in which it happens. Then it will check if it is a HTML document or if it is CGI document, it's an error. Okay, or what if it is just a document, it will send it to the network writer saying this is document, write it down. So we are talking about very specific task, very specific use cases. For that matter, each of these are a use case. Load files and these are use cases. These are called when we have to when we need to call them, right? So how do you know when to call what? And this is what sequence diagram will talk about. Okay, now again, as I said, right, you won't or you don't do it every time. Okay, you don't have to do it every time, but whenever you are like you have a complex thing and you feel like it is difficult to understand for people, or people may not be able to understand, that's when you'll create this. Okay, you won't be doing it every time. Okay, but when you feel that this needs more explanation, then you will do it. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is about sequence diagram, and this is package diagram, right? So it talks about multiple package. Package will have many classes. So basically, you have classes, you put them together, and it says that this set of code is for web server, this set of code is for database server. Okay, so this is just talks about how the files should be organized, how the files to be organized. Okay, flowchart. Does anybody know flowchart here?
Yeah, Saurabh.
So can you explain to us what it is?
Like, see, every shape of your box has the meaning. See, whenever the elliptical shape or the round shape, it means the starting ending point, like it tells about the starting ending point. And the rhombus shape, it tells about the decision making. And this rectangular shape gives the statement in a flowchart. That's what I know.
So can you explain what this process is about?
Okay. Maybe it's related to insurance policy.
No, explain step by step.
Okay. Customer makes request. Okay. Customer approaches the particular person, like a specific person who related to that policy, thing, and he arrives and he approaches, like make a request to make a request to the person in the concern company or policy related company. Teller inquires after ID. So that person in the company checks the customer's ID, and then he check whether it is right or not. The ID shows the information is correct or not. If it is yes, he goes to the check balance. If it is no, it's go to direct end process. And then if it is yes, is check to the balance. And then is the balance all right? Like if the current balance is enough for the proceed for further process to proceed further process, he check whether it is enough balance or not. So if it is yes, he goes to the check policy, or no, he reject. And then he after checking the policy, within the purview of the policy, is he like applicable for that policy log transition or not. If he applicable for that, the next further process goes to the log transaction. If it is, if he is not, the customer is not applicable for that policy, he directly rejected, like his request will rejected. And then if it is yes, he goes to the long transaction, and then the person in the company who is related to the policy making something, he gives cash to the customer, and then end. That's
Okay.
what I get from.
Yes. So I told you, right, we have two approaches of programming. One is object oriented, which we discussed in terms of class diagram. Another was the process oriented, right? So what you are seeing here is the process oriented. Okay. So flowchart talks about the process. When you have to define a process, we use flowchart. So flowchart will have by default start and end. Okay, boxes, as you mentioned, that each box has a specific meaning. Okay, so I think next slide I have it. Yeah. So you have this oval for start end. Okay, so when you see an oval, that means the process is either starting there or ending there. Then you have parallelogram, rectangle. Okay, so there's a different meaning. Okay, each box has some meaning. So coming back here, okay, so there's a start. The process is starting from here. So what it says is customer arrives. Okay, so customer arrives. That's step one. Step two is customer makes a request. Okay, a request could be anything, right? The balance check, withdrawal. Okay, this looks like a bank process. Okay, so customer arrives, makes a request, then teller inquires after ID. Okay, so when you make a request, you get an ID. Okay, and when the teller will call your ID, and it will check if it is valid or not. If it is valid, okay, it goes to the next step. If it is not, so see this rhombus, okay, is actually a condition. It checks for condition. So if it is not valid, you simply end the processing. Sorry.
Like if condition.
Yes. Yes. And then here, okay, but here you can have only two conditions. Okay, yes or no, not more than two. So okay, so now here if it is yes valid, then it checks the balance, and if the balance is not there, it rejects. Okay, otherwise, okay, it goes and checks the balance is all right. Okay, no, then again you get rejected. So if you can't check the balance, also gets rejected. If the balance is not all right, it gets rejected. Okay, then you go to the, if that is all right, you go to the check policy. Okay, so policy is, let's say you have certain conditions, right? You cannot withdraw so much in a day. So those policy, if those policy is fine, then you will log the transaction in the system and give money to the client. Okay, the customer that has come. If the policy is again getting violated, you will reject the claim. Right? There should be one line from reject to end also. After reject, you end the process. So giving cash to the client, you end the process. So this talks about how a bank will handle customer request for withdrawal.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is flowchart. This is another important diagram, and you will have to practice few of these as well. Okay, the last one is called Bpmn. Bpmn. Okay, this stands for business process model and notation. This is also like flowchart. Okay, but this is much more advanced version of flowchart. Okay, it has a lot more boxes and a lot more ways to do it. Here it talks about the complete end-to-end process. Okay, so it's like combining your object-oriented plus the process-oriented approach. Okay, so your actors. Okay, the actors becomes kind of the person who is driving the use case, right? So each of the actor will have a what we call a swim lane, right? In the swimming pool, this you have a lane like that, right? So if you are a customer, you can only swim in this lane, isn't it? So whatever boxes that you see here in this lane associated with the customer, these are the activities that will be performed or initiated or carried out by customer. Travel agent, these are the things that travel agent will perform. And finally, you have cab driver. So this is a process to for cab booking. Okay, so you have a customer makes a request for cab booking. So that when customer makes a request, the call will go to the travel agent, isn't it? So a message or call goes to the travel agent. The travel agent will get the details from the customer, okay, and check, okay, what time you want, where, and check if there's availability of the car or not. Okay, so if it is not available, you will get alternate schedule. Okay, and you keep repeating until you find a cab. Right, that's why this arrow circle talks about doing this again and again. Okay, and then once you found the cab, you will propose the status saying that, okay, we found it and this is what we have. So customer can reject also, right? When you inquire and they say, yes, we have the cab, should I book it? You can say no also, right? You cannot, you have two options. Either say no, I will get back to you, or you will cancel it. So customer will either accept or reject. Okay. So if customer rejects, it will go into the dead end stage. If it accepts, it goes to confirm booking. Okay. And then booking message will go to the customer and also to the driver here. That's why you see booking confirmation message goes to both customer and driver here. Okay. And driver will wait. Here it shows that it's waiting. It's time-based event, right? This one is a time-based event. So if it is supposed to go at 10 o'clock, maybe 9:30 it will start. Okay, and get the customer, and then finally you will complete the trip. When completes, you'll notify the agent or travel agent that you have completed, and whatever all the formalities you'll do it. And then finally, you will get into the end stage. Travel agent will also close the case. You get into the end stage. Right? See, the advantage of creating these diagrams is that when the software developer sees these, right, it becomes easy for that person to develop or write code. Okay, you as a business analyst works with them. You understand the process. Okay, and it becomes easier for the developer to start coding. They will have they should not have any question, but at least they'll have least number of questions after looking at your design. Any question here?
Like in every diagram, like or in any representation, there should be one start or one end. Like, can we put see in this three ends? I think.
So
Can
see,
we?
the answer to can we do this? Answer is see, it has to make sense, right? So I
Okay.
told you, right? There's nothing wrong or nothing right. Like ATM
Okay.
case, you have seen two ways of developing the same thing, right? So there is nothing wrong here. Okay, if
Okay.
you are able to, convey the correct message to the developer, it is correct. As simple as that. If you are not able to convey, then it is wrong, right? So see, if I'm able to that how I do it, what presentation I make doesn't matter. If I'm able to make you understand the concept, my job is done. I'm a successful instructor. If I'm not able to convey to you, okay, I'm a bad instructor. Whether I use presentation, notes, all this doesn't really matter, correct? So when you're drawing, should I select this diagram or that diagram? Should I do this way or should I do that way? Doesn't really matter. Those things are not important. Those are the see. You can use something which you have not learned. Also, we can come up with a different way, new way of some drawing. Ultimately, your drawing should be. Why do we follow this standard? Because here, these are standard diagrams. You are getting trained. Your developer will also getting trained on how to read that. Okay, so it's an international language, right? So anybody will understand, but you're free to develop your own designs as well. What it makes, in end of the day, you should be able to convey correct information to your development team or technical team. Okay, you don't want to confuse them, you don't want to give them half information. Okay, you don't want to develop A2L like software.
Got it, Saurav.
Right.
Or how do we choose that we need to go with this particular diagram? Because we've seen lots of
I told you, right? I answered right away. It does not really matter which diagram you choose. Okay. What it matters is the message should go out. Your objective should be clear. You want to do something. Okay. You want to make your technical team understand what you have in your mind. Okay. You're free to do that. When to do it, how to do it, only we can learn. When to do is totally up to you. You don't have to do all these diagrams. Okay, you can choose one of these, you can choose 2, 3, or 4 of these. Doesn't really matter, as long as your technical team is able to understand what you're trying to say. So more you will work, right? You'll understand when to do that, when not to do that. Okay, you'll learn as you practice more and more.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Not only that, we have one more. These are some, the things, the boxes and definition that they're used. We have one more example. So who wants to tell me what it is?
The representation of this diagram, like the diagram represents the cab booking process, Saurav. So first, the customer, the traveler request booking. And the next calls for cab booking. Like his request goes to the calls for booking and also booking details simultaneously. So then when he when the system receive his request, get booking request and then check the availability. If the if the cab is available, it goes to the proposed booking status, or if it is not available at that time, it goes to the alternative time, like alternative slot. And if it is available, proposed booking status, and then response from the driver or prospective person, if he is okay to go to that location, clients, or I mean the traveler's location, he accept the booking request from the client or traveler. If he is not able to go to that location or any for any condition, he not accept the booking request. And then after accepting the booking request, confirm the booking, and then it goes to the assignment complete. And then after confirmation booking, it goes to the pickup customer, and the cab driver going to the location where the customer.
Okay, that didn't get recorded, so no problem. Okay, so yes, you want to continue?
Yes. When after confirming booking, the cab driver went to go to the customer to pick up the customer, and after pickupping, he reached to the destination, the customer, its end. And also notify agent, like the driver, whoever they complete the assignment, he is notifying the customer that the traveling is completed, and then it's end. That's it, Saurabh.
Okay, right. Okay, anybody else wants to talk about it?
It's the same.
So, Saurabh, I have a small doubt. See, the cab driver arrives to the customer, and then he pick up the customer, and he reached the customer to his destination. So it end, right? Then why it is again assignment complete and notify agent?
Agent should know, right? And let's assume that agent is Uber. Let's say Uber should know that you have finished the whether it's Uber or maybe let's say there's a travel agent company. The agent company should know, right? Your billing will come from them, right? All the details. The agent should also be aware, right? So one, the trip got ended, and the passenger got out safely. One, and second thing, that your travel is not available. That also is important, right? If you don't end the trip, you don't tell them that they've ended, it will be shown to them as busy, right?
Yes, got it.
Okay. So when I asked, I don't say same. If you think same, then repeat it. Don't say same, ditto, right? If you agree to her word by word, you repeat word by word. You want to try? That was Benedict, right?
Yeah, yes, Saurabh.
Yeah.
First, the customer, he requests for the booking. Then the travel agent gets the request from the customer on booking the request. Then they check with the availability. And once if it is available, they go to the proposed booking status. If availability is not there, you get an alternative time. Then if that particular booking status is accepted, the cab is confirmed book, is you're confirming the booking. If you're not okay with that, you're not accepting it. Once when the booking is confirmed, the cab driver will be notified with the customer's booking request with the timing, and then the cab driver goes to the customer's pickup location. Once when the trip is complete, the travel agent will be notified that the assignment is complete, and then you end the process.
Right? Yes. Soumya, you want to try?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
First, the customer, he's requesting a book, cab booking, and the travel agency, they'll get the request, and from there they'll get a booking request. Then they'll check the availability. If they have, they'll send that proposed booking statement status. Otherwise, they'll send some other alternatives what they have, or other alternative timings. And then again, after proposed booking status, again it goes to accept, or if that person he don't want, or he has any other plans, then he can reject, or he can accept and confirm booking. Later, the driver, he'll pick the customer, and he'll drop in the endpoint. And after that, when he picked the customer, that information, everything goes to that agent. That's it.
Right. Okay.
So Sarah, here the arrows are different, right? So yesterday you said it's open arrows has some
Dotted arrows.
yeah, that one, and this closing ones are normal, right?
Sorry, you can repeat it again. I missed that part.
No, these arrows, they have some open, like
Where?
this is from customer to mailbox. If you see request booking to mailbox, that arrow is hollow, it's not completely covered.
Here.
Yeah, those ones. Yeah.
Right. See,
you
these
have
are, yes. So these are dotted lines with hollow head, solid line. Okay. So here you see, dotted line is message flow, and this is sequence flow. This is only message flow, and solid lines are sequence flow, the sequence diagram.
Okay.
Here only we are passing the message.
Okay.
Okay. This we did. Now you tell me, how is this different than the previous one?
There is no message flow in this, only sequence flow.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Request, register request, review.
This is more like a closed loop, Saurabh, because every time the customer registers for a request, the request will be reviewed, and if the request is approved, your car is allocated. And you perform the transportation. If the car is not allocated, then you will have to review the request again, and then you will have to again check if the request is approved or not. So it is more like a closed loop process.
Okay.
Then from allocated car to decision making, is it allocated or not? And then it goes to the, if it is yes, it goes to the, car is allocated. If it is no, again it goes to the initial stage.
Okay.
And also perform on transportation. After allocating the car, like transportation is done and the request is, the traveling is end. The request, whatever the request made by the customer is accomplished at the end.
Right. Good. Okay, great. So yes, so with that, we finish our diagrams as well. Okay. Let's look at some of the documents which are there. Okay. Let me show you an example. We'll do 2 examples and then we'll end it for today. Coming up. Okay. So this is your business requirement document, BRD. Okay. And of course, these are taken from public domain, so not at all a problem in sharing. Okay. So this is the template. This shows about the little bit about the document. Okay. Different versions, who created it, when, all those things. Okay. People who have approved. All these are done, online now. But earlier you have to be physical signature would require. Okay. From both BA and technical team and your the customer. This is the typical table of content. Purpose of the system, any glossary and acronyms that are being used. Okay, then you talk about the executive summary, The executive summary will have the background of the product, objectives, in scope and out of scope. What is in scope and what is out of scope? Okay. Then requirements elicitation, approach overview, and what kind of input you need. Then the business model. Okay. So this is like as is process, to be process, process mapping, gap analysis, right? So this is just a template. Okay. But you see, purpose of business is to lay the foundation of the design and development of technical solution through definition of business needs. This is the purpose of, these are some of the acronyms that they use in the business. So this is done before itself, so that in the rest of the document, if they talk about EMS, you know what it means, emergency medical services. Okay. Then, yeah, all these. Then you get into executive summary. Okay. And see, the last time I asked you to talk about use case, right? I think yesterday also we did that, or day before. The next step is to put them in writing like this. Okay. What is the as is process, to be process? This is template. And the next one, which I'm going to show you, will have the actual project report. Okay. This one is an actual project report. So somebody designed a software called a split pay. So split pay is a software where, let's say, you are sharing apartment with other people, let's say, or you're, so you can create a group in split pay and you can talk about the common expenses and who pays what. So it will automatically calculate how much everyone has to pay. Okay. So this is the split pay. And now when you go, this is the table of content. See, purpose, document, conventions, same as the glossary, right? Conventions, anything that you want users to know. Then your description, then the features, then the core features. Core features are prioritized one. These are the things that you will develop first. Then additional features. Okay, and these are your interfaces: user interface, hardware interface, software interface, communication interface. The use case diagram, we talk about interfaces, right? Your system talking to different actors. They'll act through interfaces. Non-functional requirement. So can you read first two line of purpose? Just the first two line. Anyone?
First two lines, Saurabh.
Of purpose.
Yeah, okay. The purpose of this software requirement specification document is to provide a detailed description of the functionalities of the split pay system.
Yes, next slide.
This document will cover each of the system's intended feature as well as offer a preliminary glimpse of the software application's user interface.
All right. So you're also talking about the user interface. Now, this is not the final user interface, okay? This is not designed by UI expert. This is just, you create it and, you write so that the reader will understand what is that you're expecting. Okay. Then who's your user? What is the project in scope? Can you read this in mind and let me know if you've read it? Project scope. And then you summarize it to me. Once you're done, just summarize it to me what you understand from here.
Done, Saurabh.
Yes, tell me what you understand.
Pay system is composed of two main components, like one is from client side and there is from server side. client is using the application from his whatever he has, Android handset or iOS, but whenever the server side comes, he supports the client requests and interact with the client side features. So basically the system, the split space system is splitting the share like expenses of two clients, whether it is a dinner or whether it is the sharing the rent of their house, rental house, or some travel expenses. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Okay.
That's all.
So this is overall description. Okay. Then the product features. Okay. Now you talk about the core features. Now you read that. Okay, these are your functional requirement. Yes. Have you read it?
Until 4 points I have read.
Okay.
Done, Saurav.
Awesome. Okay, so these are other things. And additional features are something not important, right? Can be done later. Okay. So you should be able to write a document like this. That's the idea. So whatever you presented last time, you have to expand and write a document like this. So you have a week to do that. Okay. Tomorrow we'll start talking about other things, like we'll talk about agile, database, testing, all those things. We'll do that. And then we come back next week and we'll wrap up. So the BA activities is done. So we are done with BA activity now, complete BA activity. I want you to go back, revisit exercise I gave you, right? Look at the job descriptions, right? Go back and see if everything that is there in the job description we have covered here or not. Of course, we are going to cover a few more topics, but just make sure that if anything is pending, because if anything is pending and we end the session, right, or training, it will be difficult to again start, right? So please work hard. Please, you have 1 week. You practice it and ask me as much as you want. We will end it when you will say, yes, we are done. We have no questions. That's when we will end the session. So I'm thinking that next 4 to 5 days, I'll talk about it and then I'll come back and next 1 or 2 days. So next 4 to 6 days, not 4, but definitely 5 to 6, 7 days, we will be able to wrap up. So next week, anytime we can finish it up. Yes. So please revisit, please check. Okay, compare the job description. I told you on day 1 itself, right? Go back, check, and see if everything that we discussed before is covered or not. Fine?
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. So we'll end it here for today. We'll see you tomorrow with new topic. Please go through these documents as well. You have all the links. Please go through them. Okay. So my job is done. For next 1 week, it's your job will begin. Okay. Because I tell you, like when we talk about it, it will look easy. But when you start doing it, that's when you'll get questions. So please start doing it. Okay. And any questions we can discuss in the group. Okay. And then we can end our journey together. Okay. Okay. Bye for today.
Good night, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.